You are 11, and you are burying a keychain. Inside its plastic shell, an egg-shaped case smaller than your palm, a creature made of maybe 20 black dots has just died because you fell asleep or sat through a math class and forgot to feed it. In 1997, kids did this by the millions. Some held real funerals. And the strange part was never the toy. It was what the toy proved about you. The toy was called a Tamagotchi. The name is Japanese. Tamago, egg, plus the English word watch. Egg watch. It was dreamed up by a designer named Akihiro Yokoi, who saw a television commercial about a boy who couldn't bring his pet turtle on a trip and thought, what if the pet fit in your pocket? He built it with a colleague, Aki Maida, at the toy company Bandai, a black and white screen the size of a postage stamp, 3 buttons, and 1 rule. Feed it, clean it, play with it, or it dies. In the first 2 versions, it could die in under half a day. Bandai sold 400,000 in 1996. By the next summer, 10 million. Within 2 years, 40. Schools banned them because children were grieving in class. Yokoi and Maida later won a 1997 Ig Nobel Prize, the satirical award for work that makes you laugh, then think, for, and this is the actual citation, diverting millions of person hours into the husbandry of virtual pets. But it was never just children. Grown adults were sneaking into office bathrooms to feed theirs. Executives reportedly cut meetings short. And the easy explanation, that these were silly, gullible, or lonely people, is exactly backwards. Because the very year the first Tamagotchi appeared, 2 researchers at Stanford, Byron Reeves and Clifford Nass, published a book called The Media Equation. Their conclusion, drawn from 35 separate experiments, was blunt. Human beings automatically treat computers, screens, and machines as if they were real people. Not because we're fooled, because we can't help it. In one study, people used a computer, then were asked to rate how well it had done. Half were asked by the same computer they'd just used, half by a different computer across the room. The people questioned by the same machine gave it nicer reviews, softening their answers, the way you're polite to someone's face and honest behind their back. They were being polite to a computer, and afterward, they flatly denied doing it. Somewhere in your wiring is a rule that says, if something responds to me, reacts to me, seems to have needs, then it is a social being, and I owe it something. That rule is millions of years old. Your brain runs it before you can think. It has no setting for, it's only a machine. You know this feeling, even if you never owned one. You say thank you to a voice assistant that cannot hear gratitude. You've named a car. You feel a flicker of something, call it guilt, when you shove the robot vacuum out of the way with your foot. None of that is stupidity. Reeves and Nass were emphatic. The effect applies to everyone, regardless of age, education, or how much you know about computers. Expertise grants no immunity. If anything, the people most certain they're above it are the ones caught arguing with the self-checkout machine. Which brings us to the soldiers. In her 2013 doctoral research at the University of Washington, a researcher named Julie Carpenter interviewed 23 military bomb disposal technicians, the people who send a robot into a room to defuse an IED so that a human doesn't have to. These robots are not cute. They have no faces, no eyes, they look like small tanks, and the soldiers named them anyway. They spoke about them like teammates. When one was destroyed, the operators described anger first, an expensive tool gone, and then, underneath it, grief. Some held funerals. A soldier would say the robot got blown up, and then, quietly, poor little guy. These were not children with keychains. They were trained professionals who knew, better than anyone, that the thing in the blast crater was a machine. They mourned it anyway. So what actually triggers this? Not looks. The bomb robots settle that. What triggers it is behavior, and specifically, contingency. When a thing responds to you, when what you do changes what it does, your brain quietly files it under alive. The Tamagotchi was a masterpiece of exactly that. It got hungry on its own schedule. It reacted to you, or it suffered without you. It had needs and a clock that kept running whether you were watching or not. Give something a parent needs and the power to respond, and the ancient rule fires. And it scales further than you'd guess. Sony released a robot dog called Aibo in 1999. stopped making them in 2006, and shut down repairs in 2014, which meant that, one by one, people's robot dogs began to die with no way to fix them. So in Japan, a 450-year-old Buddhist temple began holding funerals for them. Real ones. Priests in robes, chanting sutras, incense in the air. Instead of fruit on the altar, the offerings are pliers and wire cutters. Hundreds of robot dogs have been sent off this way. The head priest's explanation is a single line. All things have a bit of soul. Now look at the phone in your hand. The core Tamagotchi loop. It needs you. Check back or something is lost. The clock never stops. Is the same principle running underneath your notifications, your streaks, your feeds. The toy that taught a generation to grieve a keychain was a 1996 prototype of the thing now competing for every waking minute of your attention. Here is what the whole story leaves you with. The feeling was always real. That's the part that unsettles people, and it should. The child crying over a pixel, the soldier grieving a tank, the stranger writing a goodbye letter to a robot dog. None of them were malfunctioning. They were running the same machinery that lets you love anything at all. The attachment never required the other side to be alive. It only required that something seem to need you back. And that is the question we still can't answer. For almost all of human history, the things that acted like they needed us actually did. Now, we build things whose entire purpose is to trigger that response and return nothing. And we don't yet know what it does to a person to spend years loving something engineered to be loved that cannot love back. The Tamagotchi died if you ignored it. The unsettling part is how much of your life is now spent keeping things alive that were never alive to begin with.